All right, technology.
Yeah, this is great.
21st century.
No, it's just 2020.
All right, well,
Well, it's 7:12. I guess everyone's had an ample chance on getting on board for the meeting. So we'll call the meeting to order at 7:12 p.m.
all right.
All right.
Beth, we don't have a quorum with 3 people, do we?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I need to check to see what a quorum is.
There's more than 3.
I think we're 5.
We're 5.
2, 3,
Michael, Brooks,
4, 5.
Toby. No, we're 6 at least.
We're 6?
Michael, Brooks, and Toby, right?
I don't see, so Mike's not with us, and I don't see Brooks either. So I think it's just 5.
Oh, there's someone else on the... Oh, I didn't see Toby there. Sorry. My screen didn't pan over to see there were 5 of us here. All right, then has everyone read the minutes from the July meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July.
And I'll second that.
All right. Very good. Minutes are approved. So let's move on to the agenda.
Do we all aye?
Yeah, you forgot to call a vote.
Sorry. This is awkward with the phone and the screen and everything else. Can I get a vote to approve the minutes? All in favor? All right, we all approve unanimously. All right, so Betsy has prepared the agenda for the meeting. I guess I should read the top part. In accordance with Governor Lamont's executive order 7B, Section 1, which suspends open meeting requirements of in-person participation, audio and video of the special meeting will simultaneously be televised on Channel 79 and YouTube at WGA-TV 79 in order to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in person. In-person attendance will not be permitted. So I don't think that there's any public on the meeting, so...
And I didn't receive any emails, so there is no public comment.
Okay. All right, then we can pass through the first agenda item, and we've already reviewed the July minutes, so we can move on to agenda item number 3, survey of the local businesses. We have not yet surveyed the local businesses, but we have been putting together the survey over the last couple months or year, and have edited it a little bit to allow us to get some feedback on what's going on with coronavirus and COVID and how it's affecting our, local business. Betsy, are the items that were changed highlighted?
Yes, so I think there were only 3 new questions on the survey since we last discussed.
So number 4 is how has COVID affected sales revenue? And it's circle one of these: increasing, stable, and decreasing. The other item is how has
number 5.
Is that number 4?
Spelling error. Number 5.
Yeah, number 4. We got to change it from COVID-10 to COVID-19.
Thanks, Cleo.
Oh, so typo number 4, typo number 5. Okay.
And then, all right. So number 5 was pre-COVID-19, was your company sales revenue? So we should word that properly. Pre-COVID-19, were your company's sales revenue increasing, stable, or decreasing?
Okay.
And it's not a big deal. It's just there's a spacing issue between increasing, stable, and decreasing.
Yeah.
This looks a little funky. It's nothing wrong. It's just a little weird.
Yeah, I guess maybe if we use just the tab and space it out.
Yeah.
spaces. Number 11, how has COVID-19 affected your staffing levels? We broke it into full-time and part-time, increased, stable, or decreased. And then in item number 17, question number 17, the last item, basically the question says, economic development is working on the following issues. Please rank the issues in order of importance to you, with 1 being the most important and 5 being the least. And the new item we added to that was marketing Woodbridge businesses and marketing Woodbridge as a place to do business. So basically, the items read: explore tax abatement incentives for new development, building upgrades, create a beautification plan for the business district, survey residents about what businesses, services they like, provide networking opportunities and resources to businesses. And then this last one, marketing Woodbridge businesses, marketing Woodbridge as a place to do business, which I think coincides with what we were talking about with a brochure for the town and, us trying to invite new business to the town. And I think, those are all the items. I guess I can open this up to everyone for comments, questions. Betsy, I don't know if you had anything to add to this.
Not really, no.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the survey or?
Remind me how we're getting the survey out?
So we would be mailing it, like, a hard copy to all the local businesses in town.
And so we're just mailing it. We're not going to have any available for people to fill it out as an online survey.
We could, I don't know enough to know, maybe Sean knows the answer to this, if you get a better response if it's online or if it's a hard copy. What do you?
I mean, you typically do. Generally speaking, I think we might be okay with a hard copy version, just because the number of businesses is pretty small, right, for the existing businesses. What does the town use for platform for existing surveys?
I've used SurveyMonkey. I've learned the town has a form section on our website, but it's not really set up to deal with surveys. So yeah. I would use SurveyMonkey probably.
If it's mailed, will it come with a return addressed envelope? I mean, some people won't put in the effort to put a stamp on it and mail it back if it doesn't come with an envelope that's prepaid or something. There's just so many little barriers to getting a response.
I mean, might it be good for us to have it in both places, and maybe it drives a little traffic to our website?
Yeah, I would say both. I mean, chances of someone filling it out twice are slim.
So
and if it's online as well as hard copy, I can send email reminders to people for whom we have addresses.
Right. Mm-hmm. Wasn't your mailing list a lot of agents for businesses that weren't necessarily the people like running the store, so your response rate might be difficult?
Yeah, it kind of depends. So you're right. So some of the businesses not necessarily it's going to the taxpayer, right? Which is not necessarily the business. And then the email list is also imperfect because for a lot of people we just don't have emails.
But also if it's an email or a survey, then it can go on the town Facebook page or be shared locally, which also shows businesses and shows residents what we're working on. And I kind of like the public aspect of that.
Mm-hmm.
I do too. And I guess just as a sort of a transition to another part of this, Betsy and I have been talking about how successful the videos have been going, highlighting or profiling local businesses in Woodbridge on the Facebook posts. There have been a lot of shares and likes and activity on them, and more than I think the Facebook page has seen, I don't know about maybe ever, but in a long time. In talking to Betsy, she said that we've had something like 50 to 100 new likes of the actual town website page, Facebook page, over the last few months. So something about what we're doing with profiling the businesses with the videos is working, and getting us a little more access to the residents in town. That being said, the videos are probably going to stop at some point in the near future, but I think that the profiling of the businesses is very successful. And we're thinking that maybe when we do send out this survey, it may be a good idea to send out another piece of mail with it, asking local businesses if they have any interest in being profiled on the town social media site. And that way we can get a list of folks and we can actually make outreach to them and start to put some sort of like a uniform business profile of the week, of the month, whatever we decide to do in terms of, how often we want to post it. But it seems like people like that, and they're getting likes and sharing, and it's generating some activity for the Facebook page, and I think it's generating activity for the businesses.
Can these videos be used as filler on the town channel, the channel 79? So they're
Possibly. I could speak with Pua about it after the meeting.
yeah, just a thought to give it a little more airtime for those people who are up at 2 a.m. watching that channel.
Yeah, the only and I don't know that this is a problem, but the only disparity, I guess, is we had 2 interns working with us this summer helping, and one of them was comfortable doing videography and one was not. So we had one doing videos and one doing photos. So approximately half the businesses we profiled over these last few months were video and the others were just photo essays.
Well, if you get a new intern, they can turn the photo essay into a movie and narrate it.
Yeah, I mean, the other thought is going forward, I would like to get an intern. I'm not sure if it's more difficult or more easy during COVID, but I've been thinking about business of the week was something I had on my idea list for something that they could do. Right now we're kind of talking about what businesses are doing during COVID to make sure customers feel safe, patronizing local businesses. But I've been thinking about business of the week as something not necessarily COVID related, more like about your business. And it could be, so it'd be for a wider variety of businesses. It would be a similar idea, a photo essay, but not necessarily all retail and restaurants. It could be the manufacturing businesses, or I don't know how.
In this regard, we would get the survey and that questionnaire about are you interested in being profiled out to all these folks, and then we can get a response, and then actually have a real list that we can work off of, and start making a calendar of who we want to profile, and
might also help the response rate.
Sort of.
Should you want to add that question to this survey? You're saying
almost like a separate piece of another sheet of paper that would go in the mail with it, just to piggyback on it. So like it would open up saying, here's a survey, and then also, would your business like to be profiled on Woolbridge's social media sites? So any thoughts on that? It's just sort of a way to reach out.
I think it's a great idea. You should ask the question, because I'm sure people would love the opportunity.
We can make it look like the way we post it on social media could look like a little PDF with, it would be just sort of newsletter looking, blurb that goes out with a photo of the business and, just a little bit, some Q&A, and that's basically it. But I think if we're all in agreement, we think it works, then we can, figure out if we can find an intern, or if we want to formulate the questions that we would want to ask the businesses, and go on from there. But I think it's being that we're all sitting at home still, it's a nice way to just get stuff out there and be able to do stuff. Everyone's on social media more than they've ever been. So might as well take advantage of it now while we can.
I think it's great to continue.
Yeah,
And
so
thank you to those guys. Give them our thanks, please.
they did such a great job. Yeah. So I'm going to be looking for an intern to help with this because I've wanted to do it for a while. I just definitely do not have the time to do it. So getting an intern is key.
So if we know of anybody, what are your requirements? Video experience, someone interested in, what would you say?
I don't know that video is required. I mean, I think video is definitely eye-catching, but photo and writing skills or interest in writing, I think, is just as good because it's easier to put those things on the town website. I don't know that we'd want this to go on the website, but that's an option. So I've got a couple other projects that I'll be working on too. I was going to reach out to maybe one or two of the high schools to see if they had anybody interested. I think those kids have maybe a little more free time on their hands now than normally.
Well, that's why I was asking because I'm a volunteer advisor for a youth group, so teens. So if you want to send that to me, I can always pass it around, see if any of the teens are interested.
I wrote up an intern description quite a while ago, so let me see if I can pull it up and find it.
Great.
And you can find students studying public policy, in high school, students that are involved in student government, just general subjects like that.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, they could also help us decipher the survey results.
Oh.
Because I'm not going to have time to do that, and I doubt that you guys will either. So even just someone to kind of tabulate things to help us with that sort of thing. But yeah, public policy, communications.
Yeah, there you go.
Even marketing. Folks that want
to all of those things would work.
Journalism.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and there's college kids that are home too, so you should. It's a good time to find somebody.
Great.
My only question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had one question. At the end where it says, "Would you be interested in Woodbridge Business Association?" Do we want to ask if they participate in the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce? Do we care? Do we not care? Because I feel like if you're paying dues to the Chamber of Commerce, would you also want to be in a Woodbridge Business Association where there might be a cost involved, to co-op for advertising and stuff?
I think that would be an important addition.
Yeah, so maybe we ask if they participate in. Some people also participate in the Valley. Chamber, and I've even heard of a few people who do the Hamden North Haven Chamber.
Oh, the Quinnipiac.
Yeah, we're in such a curious geographical region that people have all these different places to choose. It's not
so I would be curious to that. Or if you're a business at 245 Amity, sometimes they pitch in for advertising. That might be considered an association, a renters association, or maybe it's not. I don't know. I would just be curious to see how people are spending their money and do they feel they're getting a value from it.
Yeah, and when I've been thinking about this business association, I don't really know what it might end up looking like. But I am working with these networking groups. We've got the retail and service group that meets monthly, the wellness group that meets monthly, and the artist group only met once pre-COVID, and they're going to be meeting again next week. But I definitely, and I think it makes sense for them to kind of meet among their own type of business. But there's lots of times where I think it would make sense to meet with people outside of their sector. Like if we're talking about a larger event or other issues, I don't know that it needs to be a dues paying association. Maybe that's what it eventually evolves into. But I'm thinking of even just like a monthly networking, like a large scale networking group for all businesses to come together and talk about things and maybe kind of channel feedback and needs up to EDC in the town to try and work on things. And there's other things that they could probably do on their own. Like they could be organizing events if that's the direction they want to go. But yeah, I don't know if it becomes a bigger formal thing with dues or if it's more kind of loosey-goosey networking. So should I add that as a question between number 19 and 20 to say, are you a current dues paying member of any local chambers?
Yeah, I would maybe check the box with Greater New Haven, Valley, Quinnipiac, and maybe there's other in case there's something we don't know about or what they might consider.
Do you want to put BNI?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. One of those other groups.
Oh, mm-hmm. So like a chamber or a networking group.
Yeah, I would maybe check the box for the others, but definitely leave a space for fill in.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry to add that.
No, I think that's really, really useful. Right. So do you guys think the content of the survey is ready for prime time?
Yeah, and then just on the bottom where it says email address and phone, it probably just needs two separate lines rather than the semicolon. But yeah, I think it looks good, especially from where it started.
And also, after question 13, there's a hanging bullet point that I think you can get rid of. So it's after question 13, above availability of skilled labor.
Yeah, good catch.
Say it again, Toby.
Yeah, so underneath question 13 and above of the availability of skilled labor bullet point, there's just a hanging bullet point that we can get rid of.
Oh, not on my copy. So I'll take a look.
I don't see it either.
Oh, I see it. An extra bullet point above the word availability.
That's so odd. I'll take a look at the current copy on my computer. Make sure there's no hanging bullet.
See it on mine.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else on the survey or the business profile stuff? All right. Well, I guess the next item is the survey of residents about possible businesses. Basically, this was to go out to just sort of put together a database of home businesses. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look at that survey, but
It is long.
It's incredibly long. I found it.
I mean, this is
online.
that's not right. That's a template of something that's been used in another town.
Exactly. And I thought it was just an easy starting place for us to go through and say, what does and does not make sense for us, so we're not starting from scratch.
So maybe I'm mistaken. Are we aiming here to find out to identify local businesses that are home businesses? Or are we asking our residents what they want from the town of Woodbridge?
The latter.
The latter. Okay.
I feel like this needs its own meeting. This could be a while.
It's a bit of a doozy.
I mean, this survey is huge. But
is this something we should work on our own and then just send Betsy our comments? Or
do that if you think that's.
I think that's a good idea, Debbie.
Tell me what.
Good idea, and I think we should probably break it down to 10 questions and no more than that. So
it should not be multiple pages.
Yeah, I feel like if we all email Betsy and say, keep number 1, don't need number 5, or change number 7. If we send her a couple of quick comments, then I bet you there's a lot of commonality. But to do it one by one on this kind of a setting could take a long time.
I agree. Any other thoughts on it though, like goals or ideas in terms of directions in which you want to take the questions? No, that's fine. I think we all sort of have the same idea. We really just want to identify what people want from our business district. But
yeah, I mean, as we each look at this, I would suggest, thinking, higher level, larger, buckets or segments of, businesses and things of that nature, and then, we can, I think, use that. At a, after we have the results, then we can use that directionally to help us find a path forward.
Can we have a goal date of edits to Betsy and a general date of when we want to get this out? We want to shoot for mid-October, because it's going to go through the town email, which has X amount of people, town Facebook, which has Y amount of people, to try to get the best turnaround.
I think if we're going to try to do this, we might as well try to get these back to Betsy before the next meeting so she can, or so we can go over them all, and then we can make a decision in the meeting, and then we can pick a date for it to be disseminated, right?
So the next meeting is when? First week of October?
October 8th.
October 8th.
So Betsy, how much time do you need to try to piece together our edits?
I have about 28th of this month, like by Monday or something, last Monday of the month.
Yeah, that would give me time to play with it and come up with something that's legible for you guys to review before the meeting. So if everyone got their suggestions to me by the 28th, I could try to synthesize everything and then get it out to you the following Monday would be my goal for you guys to have a couple days to sit with it and think about it before the meeting on the 8th.
So the meeting is the 8th. So then the 5th is the Monday, hopefully to review?
Yes.
Okay.
I would try to send it out to you.
That's great.
Is that good with everyone?
Sounds good to me.
And I see Brooks is on too. Hi, Brooks.
And it's in a Word doc, so maybe we can even make. Is there a way you prefer us to get it back to you, Beth?
I think if you just do what you suggested, Debbie, say cut questions 1 through 5, keep this one, cut that. So I think if everybody sends me their own Word doc, I'm gonna pull my hair out.
Yeah. Okay, so just comments. Yeah. Perfect.
All right, so number 5 on the agenda is the marketing campaign update. I bet I'll let you elaborate on that one.
Yeah, so this is a little bit what Jeremy was talking about earlier. So we're really lucky to have the 2 interns help this summer try to get the word out about what local retail and service businesses are doing to keep people safe. And we came up with a list of a goal list of businesses to hit. And we had the great videos and the photos on the Facebook page. And I have a few businesses left on the list that I'm going to hit now that the 2 interns have started, or they're about to start school. And so I'm just taking photos of the businesses, trying to find things that are actually able to show what differences people have made. A lot of times it's like a store is keeping their doors and windows open and the fan is on, so I can show that the door is open but can't really show that the fan is on in a photo. So some of it is a little difficult to show. So I've probably got maybe 7 or 8 businesses left on our goal list that I'm going to try and hit. And I think I've got enough businesses that I can do this through the month of September and maybe a little bit into October. And then we will have hit, I think, all of our retail businesses, most of our restaurants, and some of the service businesses. Like, I don't know that it makes sense to do all the hair salons because the majority of them are going to have the same type of changes. So, and like Jeremy said, I think it's been really successful. People have really responded very well to it. So, trying to think about how do we keep this going forward, but kind of spread the love so it's not just retail and service businesses. And I think that's where the potential to do a business of the week comes in, where it's not necessarily COVID related, but just trying to get the word out about what kind of businesses we have in this town, because there's so many businesses here that people just don't even know exist because they're kind of tucked away and hidden.
Yeah, we want to embrace all the businesses, and so it's very hard to pick and choose which one you're going to profile. So if we send out a survey and then we put in this, questionnaire on top of it, it'll at least allow us to touch all the businesses and say, would you like to be profiled? And that way we can actually get an active list to say, all right, these folks are interested in doing this. We can work off this list, and then after we go through that list, we can go from there.
Is it a retail service focus? I mean, or if the accounting group or one
I
of the
think it should be-
manufacturers want to be profiled? I feel like it should be everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And the COVID stuff that we've been doing is really just retail because, your average resident doesn't necessarily care about the changes at the insurance broker's office, right? But if this has a different focus about raising awareness of the businesses in town, then yeah, I think it should be open to all types of businesses. And then the other thing, sort of marketing related, is I'm still working with the networking group. So as I said, we've got the retail group meeting monthly, and the wellness group meeting, and the arts group is going to meet next week to try and figure out, what sort of commonalities do people in these groups have, and what sort of things can we do either through events or other marketing things to raise their profile. So we're talking about, again, doing the not as many as we did last year, but doing some posters to highlight things like around the holidays. If people are doing sales or events, try to help them get the word out through cross promotions and a marketing piece like that. So stuff like that. And of course, COVID makes everything different and hard to predict.
Those.
I had a question sort of related to marketing because it makes our town more appealing. Did the first selectman ever take action on our proposal for the tax abatement?
We did not, because this group that Jeremy is joining, that next week I'm going to try and set up a group for, a first meeting for, is called the 2030 Task Force. And their charge is to come up with things that will significantly help grow the grand list by 2030. Any action we take obviously is not going to have immediate effect. And so that's going to be on the agenda for them to talk about. So we'll be asking them to look at a slew of things, including the abatement program.
Thank you.
I guess lastly on the agenda is other. The only other I have is, Betsy and I spoke about it earlier, is following up with the property owners and landowners of the commercial or the business district. And one of those thoughts was to maybe, as we've been having these sector calls, maybe doing a property owner networking sort of group where, we can have a weekly or a monthly group where we can get some of the business district property owners together, where we can just talk about what we're trying to do, what they think they need, what they think their tenants could need, just to get more feedback. I think the more touches we have with the business district, the better. And I think the property owners who actually have a vested interest in that district will be a really, really valuable, asset to helping us move forward in what we want to do and changing and growing the grand list. If you all agree on that, but it just seems like they're a very valuable piece of the puzzle.
When did we meet with them last? I thought it was a pretty good turnout.
I think it was February, so pre-COVID, and they had a kind of a list of demands, and then the world changed.
Yeah.
And I'm sure their reality has changed too. So, they may need wildly different things or not.
But in the same light, like some of the people that were there were, the Crest dealership, who's obviously going forward with their renovations, and Traditions Golf Course, who's been having a successful year at the golf course, and the folks who own the Blue Check property, who Blue Check really hasn't probably skipped much of a beat. So there's some valuable people that I think can really help us sort of have some, and then there's people who have been affected, like the retail business owners, and I just think that they're going to give us a lot more insight than we have just from the outside as just members of the town.
And it could
if
be
we can
good
get them
to
on board.
yeah, and it could be good to get an update on empty spaces. What's tucked away on Bradley Road or Lunar Drive or Research Drive. What's empty? I mean, Jeremy, you might know personally, but whose phone is ringing? Is there interest? The one thing I wanted to bring up, and I'll do show and tell. Let me see. This was an ad in the Wall Street Journal, if anybody saw it, and it was for Orange County, New York. And it kind of ties to what we were talking about a meeting or two ago as people fleeing New York City and moving to the suburbs, but also what businesses want to get out of the city, New York City, Boston, et cetera, and maybe relocate to a small town where they can live and work without the commute. So this ad, half-page ad, talked a little bit about proximity to highways and airports and about the schools and the profile of the town, and then it had a little snapshot of property for sale or for rent, et cetera. And I know we don't have the budget for a half-page anything in the Wall Street Journal or any other paper, but it still ties into who might be looking. Are you a startup company and you've got 15 employees? Would you rather be here than be there? I don't know how to reach them, but I feel like we're kind of uniquely positioned for that.
The residential housing market in the last 4 months has certainly shown that. I mean,
yeah,
it has flying off the market.
They're moving fast, but they're not. They're still super low, but they're moving fast. I mean, Cleo, you just sold a property too. They're selling fast. I think the prices are still depressed, but they're moving fast.
They are.
I've just noticed it in the Facebook groups. How many people post? I just moved to town. It just seems like 3 or 4 times as many people as last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and these aren't, and that is showing that there's people coming from other places, not coming from, their apartment in Westville and moving up to Woodbridge. They're coming from out of state, most of these people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. You see a lot of New Jersey and New York plates and Massachusetts plates in town now, and they're local residents now. And I think they're just trying to get going to a town. And I think it's a good idea, and it's a good time for us to be beefing up our marketing and what we can do and advertising the town and what we have. I don't know the best way to try to establish the business owner or the business district property owner forum, but I mean, should we send out a email, Betsy, and see if anyone's interested in getting on a monthly call? Or
yeah, and I think I'd have to check my notes. I think when we met with them in person, we asked how often they thought it would be useful to meet again, and I can't remember. They either said quarterly or every 6 months. But I think it's certainly, things have changed. Well, it's certainly been more than 3 months since we met with them, but things have changed so much. It's definitely worth checking in. I could just send an email out to everybody and, propose a time that works, for maybe you just want to do like a show of hands now to see who among EDC members would be interested in participating in a call, and then we could find a date that works.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was
it was great.
Good content.
Okay, totally, Jeremy.
I hope this crowd would embrace a virtual meeting, because it is a totally different setup than an around the table where I think they also enjoyed speaking and meeting each other.
Yeah, I felt like there were a lot of people who hadn't met each other, and it was good opportunity for them.
Yeah.
I agree. And in being in the property management business and dealing with and managing condo associations, it's amazing how the voluntary attendance of unit owners versus board members has jumped by tenfold since COVID and virtual meetings started. Nobody wanted to get off, leave the house to go to a board meeting before, but now that you could just get on your computer and click in and start commenting about little things around the property, everybody will go to meetings now because you can sit on your couch and you can go to a meeting. So I think we may get more attendance than we had in the past just because of the convenience of it all.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty funny that people in a condo association don't want to get together for a meeting.
I know they just
have to
can't.
go down the hall.
I know they can't walk across the parking lot to the community room
That's
and
great.
they get the free coffee. They're missing the free coffee and the muffins.
It's true, especially when you have kids at home. It's a lot easier to jump onto a virtual meeting than have to.
Yes and no. There's still like Zoom fatigue and how much is too much and it's enough already. I mean, Betsy, you would know your whole life is on WebEx these days. Yeah,
WebEx killing me.
Yeah. With other news though, with property owners, has there been any new businesses or business news that anybody knows about? Anybody coming, going? Hopefully not.
I haven't seen a lot of coming or going. I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing during these times.
Yeah.
We had the fire over in on Litchfield Turnpike at Katz's. So
Yeah.
it affected the businesses over there, but most of it's all due to the fire.
Well, Rise and Grind is open, and what's with Grimaldi's?
Yeah.
Are they gone?
They
coming?
were fire affected. No, they're still here.
Okay. They were
So,
fire affected. Wow.
Yeah,
They'll be back. But no, I really haven't seen that much activity going or coming in the town, to be honest, over the last bit.
Yeah, the only activity I've really seen is in Selden Plaza, and musical folk left. They closed that. They had a couple satellite offices around the region. They closed that one. And the dog groomer that was at the foot of Lucy Street moved over to Selden. And Delish Delish has a new owner.
That's
so
nice.
It's kind of
Right,
concentrated.
Delish has new owners. Yep.
Yeah.
But that's really all that I've noticed.
Hey, Jeremy, while we're on the item of other, I wanted to kind of plant a seed with you all. If we don't have any other discussion about local businesses on this subtopic.
I'm good. Go.
All right.
Nothing else.
So I mean, we've all been working so hard and trying to help develop business. We made a lot of progress with the abatement, as we all know, and then COVID happened. So in my own mind, reflecting upon the EDC, and I'm trying to have more abstract thought on what we can do, and it seems like everything we do revolves around business. So I looked at the definition of economic development, and some folks say that economic development is sustainable increase in the overall standard of living for individuals within a community. So in that phrase, you don't hear anything about business. It's just the improvement of your livelihood within a community. So this is high level, just planting a seed. But what is there things that we can do to help improve the lives of Woodbridge residents beyond business? So think about it this way: if hypothetically, like some kind of an infrastructure project that would make Woodbridge desirable, which would then increase our property values, and I guess that would then help lower the mill rate theoretically.
I think that's a lot of this thing, and I think you're 100% right in thinking that. I think that's what's on a lot of people's minds. I think, and we still haven't met yet, but I think that's what the 2030 committee is going to be looking at, is trying to figure out ways that we can improve everyone's lives and figure out ways that we can make the town more enjoyable for everyone, and at the same time, lower the mill rate. I don't know. I don't know of any other way to. You sort of nipped it in the bud. I think that's the goal for what we've got going on.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely a lot of crossover between what that group's going to be doing and what EDC does. And the way that I see it is that group is going to be taking, like you said, Sean, a very high level look at how do you grow the grand list. And it is things like infrastructure and the abatement program, and thinking about, do sidewalks make a difference? Are there zoning changes that we need to do? But back to your original question, I think some of the networking stuff that I'm trying to do ties in to the community part of development. So what we'd been talking about pre-COVID was trying to come up with a calendar of events that could happen in the business district that would be events for the general public, to be fun and community type events that would simultaneously raise awareness of our local businesses. And the arts group is much more community and not quite as, businessy business. And I'm hoping that at some point they'd be able to do things like art shows or other kind of community things to bring people together and increase the value of people's lives, not necessarily the monetary value. But I feel like people in Woodbridge really value the arts, but there aren't really arts opportunities outside of the schools for community members to participate in. So I'm kind of dancing or kind of skirting around, I think, what you're talking about. But I'm definitely open if there's other things that I could be doing or different tactics I could be taking.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was, I read the paper and someone said the EDC has been nibbling around the edges of business for many years, not making any progress. So, it was, I mean, I guess it's true, but it was also, a little, unfortunate that we haven't been able to make any progress on that front. So I just, again, I'm trying to think of, more abstractly what we can do. And, in my household, I'm looking to, lower my, cost of things. And if I can't lower my, cost of taxes, where else can I lower my costs? For example, our utility bills in this state are ridiculous. What if there was a way for us to find a better way to have utilities in our town?
Like Wallingford, that has its
there you go.
own electric company.
I mean,
yeah, I think
this is a huge ticket item. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, again, just hypothetically branch out our way of thinking and, just have some discussion about it.
No, I agree with you. And I think it also ties, and it becomes like a pretzel of what we're doing. What is planning and zoning doing? What is the CUPOP doing? What is the community council doing? Like we're all circling around the same facets of quality of life, businesses, residents, lowering our costs and having better schools, better towns, better property values, whatever it may be. But we can't all do it when we're siloed, but we also don't necessarily all partner together either.
There's got to be communication between all the different boards and commissions. It hasn't been that great over the last however many years.
I feel like we should have maybe a conference in the spring, hopefully in person when all this is maybe over, if not virtual. And maybe we try to get ourselves out of our silos and really have a brainstorm with a bunch of different commissions and really, because I'm sure this, I mean, Betsy, you would know, you serve most of the commissions. I mean, they're probably dancing around a lot of the same topics, maybe tackling them in a different way, but it's all, I think Sean is right, and they're all kind of focused on some of the same themes.
There's definitely overlap occasionally. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be open. I don't know what the rules are, but I would be open to like a multi-commission think tank. I don't know how that's different than this 2030 group, or it's more of just getting a dozen to 15 people around the table and see how we can then break it back down into our own groups.
Well, and I think maybe, again, they haven't met yet, so I'm speculating, but maybe some of what the 2030 group does is come up with kind of big picture goals or tasks and then farms them out to groups to say, because they're not necessarily going to have manpower to accomplish these things, but they'll say, we think we need to do A, B, and C. You're the group in charge of C.
Yeah, I think there's going to have to be committees that are going to be formed based on, what comes out of that. So I think there's going to be a lot more outreach to folks for feedback and everything else. We finally meet, but either way, on our side, as long as we keep pining forward and coming up with ideas, try to bring everyone together, I think we're on the right track. Even though, go ahead.
I think some of these surveys, I think especially the survey of the residents is going to, if we get a good response rate, I think will be very useful, because you can then take that and turn around and go to realtors and property owners to say, look, residents have said they would love this category of business, and you've got an empty space. So now you've got information to back up, to back yourself up when you're going to talk to businesses and make it a more
right. It's almost like we're doing the market research for a new entrepreneur, business owner.
Exactly. I'm hopeful that it'll be very useful to property owners.
Yeah, and a lot of everything's going to come back to what we can do to change zoning and what's going to be allowed in the business district. If we're going to allow sidewalks and make it walkable and all that stuff, and it's all going to lead to the same thing. I mean, I think we got enough out of the property owners when we met with them the one time, and we got the gist. I mean, they want to be able to be walked to. They want parking for people so they can get around town and not go to one place and then just drive off home. They want to be able to have people be able to park and then go from one business to another and walk around town for a little while. And I think that's the goal at the end of the day. In a big picture is we just got to figure out a way to make the downtown business district cohesive. And I think the feedback from the residents and the feedback from the business owners and feedback from the property owners is going to sort of lead us to that, to come up with some sort of a structure to make all that happen over some sort of a time frame. As much as it's frustrating, I think we're all doing a good job. The feedback that we've been getting, I think, although it's, we're not a voted on, we're not an elected group, we're an appointed group, and I think being that we don't have any voting power, I think we're putting in the time and the effort and coming up with some really good ideas that'll help move it forward. And I don't know, even though it's frustrating, I thank you everyone, because it's not easy dealing with all this stuff and sort of being put in a box and not being able to necessarily get out of it. But I appreciate the time and effort everyone's putting into this. I don't know, does anyone else have any other comments, closing comments, or other feedback on anything else we've been talking about? Okay. 8:06. I get a motion to.
I'll make a motion.
Debbie?
I'll second.
Sean?
I'll second. Yep.
All right, all in favor to adjourn? All right, good night, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Betsy.
Thanks, everybody.
Night.
Night.
Take care, everyone.
Stay safe.
Good night.